Let's hear it for the Jason. How's everybody? Good. It is Friday. It's not the 13th. But what better day to have a horror convention?
Yeah, that's right. It's always Camp Crystal Lake wherever we go.
Oh, there actually is a Crystal Lake in Connecticut. Yeah.
Didn't they film part 2 in Kent Falls, Connecticut?
They filmed it in Kent, yeah. It was North Spectacle Pond.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Not at the falls.
Not at the falls. Falls
That would
right
have
around
been
the pond.
awkward. Jason kind of tumbling down the falls.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, where was that filmed? That was filmed in Connecticut?
Yep. Right up in Kent.
What a crazy movie for such a nice town. I can't believe it.
That's awesome.
That's badass.
Stand up there and show everybody.
I didn't know you were looking at guys' thighs, but anyway.
I gotta look at the top there.
That's awesome. Badass.
Nice tattoo.
So Ari, you're actually from Connecticut, aren't you?
I went to high school in Connecticut, I'm proud to say.
Awesome.
And if it wasn't for living in Westport, Connecticut, I wouldn't have been cast in Friday the 13th. Because Sean Cunningham famously had years ago, his offices located in Westport, Connecticut. And if you think about it, Friday the 13th was very different than a lot of the films made on the West Coast. It didn't have a lot of that Hollywood, I don't know, production value, but also it was kind of like one of the first independent films. As you know, independent horror is so popular now, but in many ways, Friday the 13th, because of 2 reasons. Originally, the project did not start out as Friday the 13th. It started out as the tale of a ragtag bunch of orphans who win their orphanage back from the mob in a soccer tournament. That was the original film. It was called Manny's Orphans. I snuck into the audition at the YMCA in Westport, Connecticut. Of course they didn't audition me to play Jason Voorhees, because what would they say what my lines were? Here, can you gurgle and kind of make drowning? No, the original film, Sean Cunningham kind of loves to make rom-coms. And as we know, his biggest film was Spring Break. Okay, so recently he also did a rom-com, but long story short, Paramount did not like Manny's Orphans because nobody played soccer in 1978. Even though this movie had Werner Roth and some of the New York Cosmos in it, it was actually a good little film, but nobody played soccer in 1978. They said, hey man, we need something else. You did this other little film called Last House on the Left. Could you do something kind of like that? Hence, I got a call. They said, Ari, we need you to do another film. So I was like, wow, this is great. During the summer, I make movies. They never come out. And what a good summer job this is. So he said, oh, can you swim? I said, yeah, I can swim, Sean. You've seen me swim before. He said, oh, you got the part.
You did a very good job, didn't he?
Can you drown? You should say.
I got a question. So you razzed me about the guy's thigh with you hanging up the YMCA. What part did I miss?
Not through the audition.
So CJ, what was it like for you getting cast as Jason?
Can everybody hear me? I can use it if you want, but
It's for the recording.
yeah. But for me, it was a lot different. I mean it sincerely. I didn't go to Los Angeles to be a stunt guy or an actor. I was running a nightclub, give or take 15,000 per month, and it was just on stage, production, and subjects. And the people that came in to shoot it were called Real Effects, Real Effects. They did the special effects in Park 4 that way. So they said, hey, let's put with CJ and Jerry White's wardrobe, and sincerely, the rest is history. I got lucky. I wasn't the first choice for the record. It was the gentleman cast. So when you see the paintballs hit the midsection, most of you go, oh, well, he's wearing padding. That's called the daily came out. Most of you didn't see it well. So now that I've done my 30, we usually fall right back. Here we are, 3 decades later, Chuck.
Yeah. Is that at the Chippendales? Is that at the Chippendales?
Chippendales is 86.
I got the story all backwards. I didn't realize that you were actually wearing Ted White's costume. That's amazing.
News to me. So Ari, what was it like to work with Tom Savini on the makeup?
That was so much fun. Tom Savini, and importantly his co-worker, Tasso Staparakos, people should know about. Tom and Tasso were so much fun to work with. It was like the Cheech and Chong of horror. They were just a blast, very animated, very driven, very intense, very creative. Tom made sure that I was having fun. Of course, the process is kind of long, and they had to encase my entire head in alginate, which is like plaster, and then I had to breathe through straws at my nose, and then they cast your head, and then they build a mask on that, and then everything. So a lot of the process was of working together with him was prior to the film, and then of course on the set it was so much fun because I had made friends with Tom and Tasso. So it was here I arrived on the set, and it was like having 2 big brothers there to kind of show me the ropes. And of course I had so much fun. I was a kid. It was really my first real movie away from home, let's say, and I was the only kid at a summer camp. And it was a terrible summer. Everybody wanted to get out of New York City, and they were having so much fun on the set. But Tom really did make it a special thing. One cool story I can tell is the morning before the drowning sequence, I had never seen the full makeup. So here we are, it's early in the morning. They had a barber chair in their makeup room. So there was a mirror. Now I hadn't seen the makeup. They said, Ari, we're gonna leave the room. We want you to see what you look like with no one else here. So it was early in the morning, it was pretty quiet. They just was chirping. They said, close your eyes. They turned the barber chair around, said, count to 10 and open your eyes. And I opened my eyes and I thought, who is that? Instantly, I couldn't even recognize myself, which was a shock. Like, who else is in the room with me? And then I started to sympathize for Jason, and then I got a little angry. A little pissed off, like, that
You ain't gonna be Chippendale.
No, that's right.
No matter how hard.
But it's those kids at the back of the class. Now, I was the kid who made friends with everybody, as you can tell, right? I made friends with everybody. And so I made friends with those kids too. And so those kids, that's what I thought about. And so that was the energy that I was using. And Tom encouraged that, and they really encouraged the whole experience of trying to make it, it was a scary horror film. But has anyone seen Night Riders, the movie by Tom Savini, which has George Romero in it, Stephen King is in it, Ken Foree is in it? They joust on motorcycles. You haven't seen this film? It's a film about jousting on motorcycles. Has anyone seen Night Riders? Anyway, thank you. Again, in that movie, the way that Tom likes to do things, it's like there needs to be another layer of it than just the thrill, just the shock. Like you look at Creepshow, I think is another example. So anyway, Tom Savini, there you go.
CJ, with all the prosthetics they used for part 6, were there any real challenges or anything, any stories you want to tell about the makeup they used for
I was fortunate because I had no expectations. When they sat me in the chair, they all have the makeup chairs, all have the apartment chairs. They started out applying prosthetics at the beginning of it. It shows all the face, they're very great. Once they start getting all up, this is kind of, as a paycheck was cash. Every time you do a stunt ball, they great. Fire on them. Because I was dumb, because I'd never done it. I didn't do this stuff. I'd never done stuff in my life. I just showed up on set, and they're like, okay, now we're going to chain you 20 feet underwater, and a bunch of trees, signal for safety divers, and then simply there you go. Okay. You don't really think about 27 years old. I've done a military vehicle, badass. I got so for me, it was just interesting at the time. I never thought much of it until now. We're decades later. You kind of want. Even Kane Otter said one time on Steve Dash, part 2, we're in a panel. They said something about not the school teacher. I didn't want to go to school. What? He had no idea. I'd never been to school. I was John Wayne stepping out with badass attitude. They gelled me up and set me on fire. But I had fun. It was an honor. It's just so much of it today. I didn't take it too serious. I didn't get too full of myself. I was just there for the job. The principals, which were hot athletes and such, those folks, first and boss, they were the principals. I was just the excited guy with fun members. My job was to make sure when I took them around, I was secure about their life. Take them all nice. Of course, I had to stop eating. Yeah. That's because the 3 of you were late. So you didn't bring a note. You're going out the door. That's right.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Then you can open it up for some questions from the audience. Over here.
Part 6 was my favorite.
It
It had the best kills. What was your favorite kill?
My favorite kill will always be the sheriff. Because the simplicity, but just the power, the massive control of taking a body and breaking it in half. I love that. Just think what it is. Like I was thinking about how I paid my friend, his favorite, he'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Friggin' thing. Imagine just
Yeah, or when you threw the guy over the...
Just don't tell this copper. I didn't point to it anyway.
How long did it take to
Or both, yeah. Oh, well, Friday the 13th was shot great. Friday the 13th was shot great. I was on the set 3 times because the original drama sequence they brought to the show. It was like, so they wanted to make it look a little more realistic. So yeah, the second time, and Friday the 13th, I explained it to you guys earlier. The drowning sequence was originally supposed to be the only appearance of Jason Voorhees in all of cinematic history. There was never an ending sequence of Jason Voorhees. The film wrapped in August of 1979, and we thought, okay, that's it. I'm drowned in a movie. This sucks. Sean Cunningham called me up and said, we need you to come back to the set. I said, I'm dead. How's my character going to come back? So then that 3rd time, that came back. The whole movie,
I was there for 6 weeks because it was 18 kills. It's very similar to what you said. After we were done, got back to LA and came back exclusive for the park because we had the money in the budget and we could most of the children around most of the weeks that day. I didn't see what kills. So we added it to the park. Wow. I didn't. We learned things. So we talked. Stories about it. We don't. Put a big old red thing. We all answer the questions. So yeah, so we shot 8 weeks on the set. And then 2 weeks in, Griffin Park, I was all of them. Mine are 23, 25. Two girls, 23 and 25. Tell me, like, Jason, what's with her? Like, you know, I got lucky. They all knew. Like, yo, she's got to be 15 or 16 and acting up. I can't do that. Got way for 15 at that point.
You bring up a good point. A summer camp. Why is a summer camp? What is it about summer camp? Friday the 13th took a place that's supposed to be happy and safe and made it into a very scary place. Maybe Jaws did that first. At the beach and made it into a terrifying place. Nothing. They're just swimming. But so, yeah. And then your parents just like leave you at camp. You know, they just dump you off. You're just kind of like Christie, Mr. Christie, when he's in the cop car. And remember, he's driving. Oh, I'm getting a ride to Camp Crystal Lake. No, I got to drop you off here in the middle of the road while it's raining. I think they're kind of evoking that kind of thing. Like, oh, your parents just drop you off. Well, I don't have kids. But I wouldn't send my dog or cats.
I guess the better question is, sir, when you have children. And when you do, are you in love with them?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Especially all the nice,
Right here.
beautiful things.
All right. Let's start.
So, we've seen that there's been Friday the 13th video game. There's been all kinds of merchandise. There's been, you know, and there's a huge lawsuit. What do you think it is about Friday the 13th that continues to be such a fan favorite series this many years later?
I honestly think the reason that Friday the 13th is so beloved by fans is because fans made Friday the 13th so important. The final sequence that I was in caught the imagination of fans, and they just loved it. This was a sophisticated movie starring Betsy Palmer about a killer who's right in front of you the whole time. Her first appearance on screen, the final girl literally runs up, says, "They killed Bill, they killed Ned, they killed so-and-so," and she's hugging the killer. This is very sophisticated. Well, I ruined all of that by coming out of the water covered in mud. And nobody, after that, they just wanted Jason. They wanted Jason back. So, I'm glad. So I think that the reason, like you look at nowadays, fan interaction is so important with bands and movies and even fan films. So Friday the 13th maybe was the start of all that. I love it. It's ironic. It's what we run said exactly. I was like, it's stunt kid. You know, there's Kevin Bacon. You're not the stunt kid. But, you know, they treated me very well. But in my mind, I thought, you know, just like you said. And now all of a sudden, what a switch. I love it. The tables have turned.
So, Cedar, what was it like filming the music video, The Man Behind the Mask with Alice Cooper?
I got fortunate because part 6, I always say I got fortunate because we got the James Bond Yeah, that's true. I got the Frankenstein opening over just back to life. Just saying, I get to work with a lot of people over there. Working, I got to wear a hat. I got down to 4,000 price scales once a year now. When I do a convention or a watch together, he just dresses all over the jacket that I have. But at the same time, the same just was back then. And true story. I mean, I was in the military 48 years ago. But the year before that, I was 16, and my first concert ever was I was like, wow, welcome to my neighborhood. Old school back then. And then the opportunity in 86 was music meeting and then seeing respectively once a year after that, or like the last time we were respectively. That's been cool. Yeah, and just kind of, again, I got lucky just to go. So tired.
You think concert Sunday?
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. Someone said it was the concert. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
All right, could you also tell us a little bit about the music that you do?
Yes, of course, yeah. Greatly inspired by Allison for all the great horror rockers. I have a band called First Jason, in which I play the world's only heavy metal guitar with all black keys. It goes through a metal zone pedal. We just opened for Twisted and Ice Nine Kills. As a matter of fact, the singer from Ice Nine Kills is in our new video that's dropping tomorrow for a song called The Scapegoat. But the journey began, I was a jazz musician and a world music artist when I first got to a convention. It was the Fangoria convention, and it dawned on me that horror fans love metal. So I started to draw upon those resources. I had friends in the Chromax, I had friends in a band called Macabre, and you know, step by step, I really owe a lot to the open-heartedness and open-earedness of the metal scene and the punk scene. So flash forward to today, we've been on the road now for 9 years, playing at, you know, dives and theaters all over the country. I'm on 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, all of October. For instance, yeah, we played the Cabot Theater. There was 800 people there. It's our third time going back to the Wildcatter Saloon. It's our third. The Houston Horror Film Fest runs that every Halloween. Corey Feldman will be there this year. So yeah, I guess I really owe a lot to the fans of Jason Voorhees in that they gave me the chance to do that, and I actually built it into a career for myself where I can pay my band and take care of everybody. And you know, we have a new song called Look What You Did, which is based on the very words of Mama Voorhees in Friday the 13th, where she says, easier for you than it was for Jason.
CJ, but Tom McLaughlin, he's actually known for a lot of comedy films that he's done. What was he like to work with as a director?
Tom McLaughlin is just that very easy. He worked through the comedy in part 6. He was told that I did the Jersey game, he said, so it's firsthand. He was told by Frank Nichols to have some comedy. And that was his whole attitude. That's why there's a little thing that I like to jump on the bed. So what is when people grow up? It's going to be a area, right? You know, it's watch go down. Those are little things. Also the crew, I have to go back to it. So in some of the scenes, you can see a shot on the wall. He's just super chicken and peanuts. Trying to capture that. So everybody has a little feeling. Tom didn't like it. Tom said, well, shit, we did a good job. So, but even today, when I get up to the top of the show, I'll see him sustain, hard individual. I understand, it's been out for the last Jason never died, and all two. And now that he's going to have, and I'm
Tommy McLaughlin also is a rock musician.
He is.
He's a band. He's
What's the name
a
of the
great
band?
guy. Sloths.
Yeah.
I just remembered.
Put him up. Put him up. Let's hear it. Slob. Yeah, true story. You're right. Boy, I forgot. You know, he and his buddies played in 68, 69. They actually opened for the Doors. Whiskey Boom. We did a show together.
But you know, I mean, you made a good point. How does Jason go into the future? You know, here we are today, we all have cell phones. Jason can't even talk, but maybe he could text. You know, you give him a cell phone, you get a message, you know, I'm right behind you. LOL.
What's the guy that just died? Hopkins or something? That's not Jerry. Rick. Stephen Hopkins, right? Jason, intellectual. Y'all just don't get it. You ever wondered how he gets in front of everybody? Trouble. There you go.
There's definitely some thought about, well, Jason's father. Does he have ties with the supernatural? Was he an abusive to Mrs. Voorhees?
Well, I'll tell you, Betsy Palmer, I spoke with her about that very topic. And when she created her character, Pamela Voorhees, the story of the relationship between Jason's father, in her mind, because remember she had that ring. So that was her ring, the high school ring, when as she said, they were going steady. Okay. And then, you know, they had a little fun, and here comes little Jason, and the guy left her while she was pregnant. That was the story, and so that she felt that that made her a strong young woman, and it made her decide she had to take control of her own life, and then, so that's why we find her as the cook. You know, she's and that she didn't want to remarry because of how she was treated by the individual. So in other words, it was just kind of the regular story of, I mean, in Betsy's, you know, just kind of a deadbeat dad kind of thing. She never said anything as far as he was abusive or anything like that. Now, of course, in the comic books, they did riff on that. But I'm just giving you insight from Betsy.
Okay, I got some expertise on this one. As y'all know, I've done a couple of bands. Vengeance, one of them about a year now. Vengeance 2 comes out in October. I played like 4 games. I grow a beard for 5 months. My hair's down to here. So Jason Brooks is downstairs. There's got so I got some expertise on this one. In this concept, spiritually, yes, there's an older tradition. And he lies in the process of working with Jesus to bring one back. And there is a move, there is some spell and by night or he's to resurrect on at the stage. So if you get a chance, you can look on Vengeance 2 mission trailers up. Get out here and go down like that. So you get a chance to see it, get a chance to go by Jason and talk to him. Yeah, I've got a 5-foot, this is silver beard, long straight hair. It's a pretty good part. You got a long leather jacket, look like a rocker with woods, and the Morris I talk. And Jason, listen, part 1, Jason and I were square off. I like here, he's got a daughter who was Jason Brooks downstairs. Chance to find time. This vision of writing and directing and I really think it's got some look for the future of again the whole director takes her on and says, you know, we got some bias. The comic law groups of bias are 6 see how they bring that character into
We can open it back up for questions from the audience.
as long as Toad's place is open, yeah, we'll come back there. No problem. Yeah, First Jason is constantly touring throughout this country in what we call dive bars. And although, like, for instance, we just played in Nashville just 2 weekends ago. No, last week. Yeah, it's constant. But yeah, we tore the roof off that sucker. They had 2 bands come in. They both sounded like Clutch, and they were awesome. And like the whole crowd was just going nuts. I was backstage with the guys looking at them like, you guys, we better have this, you know. And we tore the roof off that sucker. Why? Because we sound like Motorhead. So we wanted to, we play faster and louder. No, to tell you the truth, all the bands had such a good time, and that's kind of what we do. So we'll bring it back to Toad's Place, and we'll be, I mean, there's another convention that we're going to be at, and it's in, it's called Massachusetts. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. The band will be at that one. Come by the table, and
I will to be fair, we've been to shows together on 2 separate occasions, actually in Florida. You lead it for 3 or 4 months. It's like the Energizer, but in summers. Close to join now.
Jason never died.
Very passionate. He's passionate, that's what I'm saying. That love just carries you to the audience. That is about being a Jason Warren. I've listened to this stuff. I got to
Thank you, CJ. And you guys do. I don't know if you all know, but CJ is a bit of a cowboy himself. He's riding horses. What's going on here, man? He's riding, you have a ranch of horses and
I
everything.
retired at 65, and I retired my husband. The first thing I did was go out there and get a ranch of horses and come back to the shop. And so I had to show the shit. That's it. In my pitchfork, man. You know, you'd be surprised though. I go to my barn once in a while and start picking them up this tree. A lot of shit. I understand what Richard Brooker was doing in this stuff. Books for the hanging stuff, brushes for cutting the sandwiches.
You ever seen a hay bug or a hog?
I was
Who has seen a hog hook in this room?
Wow.
I was down in West Virginia, we were doing that, and these guys had nasty looking at me. I said, what's that? I said, that's a hay bug. I said, what's that? He said, that's a hog hook. I was like, what? Wouldn't that be a great name for a horror movie? Hog hook. Hay hook, hog hook. Anyway, you're right about points.
I was out, you know, with Georgie and they come with me. You know, I looked at that. This is how we think of it. Jesus. Just burn the crap. Like, you know, and just to regurgitate backwards and regress, I would, you know what, whoever does Martin Luther King, I hope they're smart enough to ask the public for types of kills. The reason I say that is you guys are smart. Stuff that folks are at this point think about. But there's been so many repeats of kills. I'm sure everyone's got a couple of this one that's never been done. It's freaking awesome. I would find if I was a writer's director, I'd no problem reaching out to the folks in the past and figuring out a fan. We'll give you some guidance and some pills you'd like to see injected into it. And if you get one or two, it's not up to you. Get planned.
We talked about that.
You know what I'm saying? No, but I mean, you all got stuff in your mind you're thinking of. You don't even have to obey. They don't even have to slow to do. They'll be generic. I mean, I'll pull his head off, pull his spine out, I'll pull his ribs out, I'll pull his hand, but I'm sure you guys got something.
You know, he's doing some reading that. It's another one of our, and I believe he is silent as well, and that's Terrifier.
Yeah.
Terrifier has some very unique kills.
And that's
Maybe
Friday
you
the
could
13th.
take a page from
Hey,
Terrifier.
Michael Myers got quite the What I tell you about machetes and outback steak time, respect your elders up here.
Well, yeah, Michael Myers, what's his problem? He's killing firemen.
You got a Mikey Myers.
He's killing firemen. What's going
His
on?
daughter's back there.
Jason,
I know your family.
you see the new ones coming. It looks pretty awesome. No, I think the
Can't
way
get your
Jason,
microphone to work,
I can't get you in there.
Sound.
the way,
Inspector, like, geez,
the way that Jason kills, I always felt, is more brutal than any other killer. In other words, Leatherface is so chaotic and frenetic and weird. Michael is from the suburbs already. He's just annoying. I mean, no, he's not annoying. Freddy's annoying. Freddy Krueger's annoying. Chucky, don't even bring up Chucky. But when even little Jason, it's like it's just a one time. It's just one move and you're dead. It's like a kung fu thing. He's just although I will admit that I failed miserably in that she survived. I'm the only Jason not to kill anything.
CJ, where did Jason get his ammo pack on his belt when he was walking through the woods? Did he steal it from one of the paintballers?
No, I mean, that's where it came from. The wet belt, it's actually a wet belt. It's a Vietnam era pistol belt, 30 caliber holder, and then you have 8-inch Vietnam machete, Vietnam combat boots, khaki pants that are dirty, Vietnam era
You got any other questions from the audience?
Terrified right now. If you were to look at, I mean, have you guys seen Terrifier?
Oh, yeah.
The new one came out, and yeah, it's pretty darn scary. That would be mine.
I mean, Terrified did just come out. I did a game a few weeks ago. I think I think that
David Howard.
Listen, I love Fast and Furious. Sometimes when you jump out of the plane, back pick up a 50 cal, so that way, it's great professional thing. But I love I just saw one today, Michael Beck.
Time for one more question.
No, that's a great question. At first, in fact, the critics were very negative about Friday the 13th. Indeed, in I can't remember if it was Siskel or Ebert in the New York Post, they said, please write to Betsy Palmer and tell. There was these two famous guys who reviewed movies back in the day, and so they said, please call Betsy's agent and ask her not to do any more movies like this. And so, in fact, again, it was so-called panned by the critics. The New York Times. My dad showed me this article. He said, Artie, you're in a movie I see, and it's horrible. I said, yeah, but Dad, I'm in the New York Times. He said, well, it's true. But ultimately, it was you, the fans, that showed how much they liked Friday the 13th. And this, we have to reiterate this, I'm sure CJ would agree, that this film franchise is so fan-driven, if you will, that it was the fans embracing little Jason and asking for more, and then people like CJ getting it right and making that character so damn brutal that, you know, makes me so proud, even though my little flailing in the water didn't amount to much. But thank you for fixing that for me.
It's like a mouse and the elephant. Best friends with like. He is right. I mean, the folks don't. Or, Terrifier, those great. I mean, it's great. Like Dave and I had this conversation. The big question is great.
gonna wrap it up.